What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we are breaking down week 21 of fantasy hockey, and what that means is we're going to be looking at the teams with the best and worst schedules and also the streamers to help you maximize your games. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. To start things off, guys, let's go over the teams with the most game/off nights for this week. We do have some heavy nights, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, particularly Thursday and Saturday being the heaviest. So having players that have off nights will be good for maximizing your games and in turn maximizing your fantasy points. Before we talk about these teams, I quickly want to tell you guys to head on over to Drafters Fantasy Sports. For first time signups, you can use promo code FIREDUP and get 100% match deposit up to $100. So 20 gets you 40, 100 gets you 200. It's a super good deal. It's available in Ontario. You can do pick'ems on the NHL, the NBA, and more. So yeah, make sure you guys click the link in the pinned comments below, or you can download the app on iOS or Android. Now, in terms of the teams of the most game/off nights, we have two teams this week that have 3 games, and all of them are off nights. Those teams being the Colorado Avalanche and the Anaheim Ducks. That is pretty good for maximizing your games, getting those players in on those light nights. And then we have a couple of teams that have 4 games and 2 off nights as well. These teams are the Arizona Coyotes, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Calgary Flames, and the Chicago Blackhawks. That's pretty good for maximizing your games as well. And then below here, you can see we have some teams that have 4 games and 1 off night. These teams being the Oilers, the Blues, the Predators, the Florida Panthers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Boston Bruins. And then we also have 3 teams that have 3 games and 2 off nights, which is solid as well. These teams being the Minnesota Wild, the Detroit Red Wings, and the Seattle Kraken. Now, for the teams that have the least amount of games, we have 3 teams that only play twice this week. If you have a lot of players on these teams, it won't be good for you this week, but it is what it is. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning, 2 games, 0 off nights, Capitals, 2 games, 0 off nights, and then the Rangers with 2 games and 1 off night. So at least you have that 1 off night there, but yeah, not ideal if you have a lot of players on these teams. Moving on, we have the teams with the easiest opponent record. These teams, we have the Capitals, the Islanders, the Coyotes, the Stars, the Senators, the Avalanche, the Predators, the Hurricanes, the Blackhawks, and the Edmonton Oilers. Then for the teams with the hardest opponent record, we have the Kraken, the Devils, the Canucks, the Rangers, the Montreal Canadiens, the Sabres, the Bruins, the Flames, the Flyers, and the Los Angeles Kings. Next up, we have the teams with the highest opponent goals against average. So these teams are playing teams that let in a lot of goals. The players on these teams should do pretty good this week. And we have 10 teams on this list. We have the Islanders, the Coyotes, the Nashville Predators, the Colorado Avalanche, the Stars, the Senators, the Hurricanes, the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks, and the Chicago Blackhawks. On the flip side, we have the teams with the lowest opponent goals against average. So these teams are playing teams that generally don't let in a lot of goals. The players on these teams may struggle, guys. We have the Seattle Kraken, the Vancouver Canucks, the New York Rangers, the New Jersey Devils, the Winnipeg Jets, the Flames, the Flyers, the Blue Jackets, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Boston Bruins. Now is the part of the video where I give you guys the streamers to help you maximize your games. Like I told you earlier on in this video, we have 2 teams that have 3 games and 3 off nights this week. These teams being the Avalanche and the Ducks. Now, obviously, I'm not going to include players that have an over 90% roster percentage on Yahoo because they are not going to be available unless you're in a super shallow league. But for the Avalanche players, we have Valeri Nichushkin. This guy should be rostered in any league size. He's an absolute beast, and I think he will return this week. Pick him up for the long term, but also pick him up for this week because of their good schedule. We also have Lehkonen, Ross Colton, Zach Parise, Jonathan Drouin, Bowen Byram, Samuel Girard, Miles Wood, Josh Manson, and Ryan Johansson. And these players aren't the greatest in terms of, their fantasy value. Obviously, Nichushkin and Lehkonen are really good, and then there's a pretty big drop-off. But for the Ducks, we definitely have some intriguing options. We have Frank Vatrano. This guy's been a beast this year. Good peripherals. All-around amazing player in terms of fantasy value. Adam Henrique. This guy's been a beast as of late. He's super underrated. Great peripherals. Please take a look at him. Then we got some other good players. Troy Terry, really solid. Mason McTavish, he is injured right now, but he's been pretty good this year. Radko Gudas, obviously Bangers legend. Then we got some other players, Cam Fowler, Alex Killorn, Leo Carlson, Ryan Strome, and Pavel Mintyukov. Moving on, we have the players on teams of 4 games and 2 off nights. For the Coyotes, we have a bunch of options on here. Lawson Krause, Nick Schmaltz, Sean Dursey, Matthias Michelli, Nick Bukestad, Barrett Hayden, Matt Dumba, Dylan Gunther, Kerfoot, Logan Cooley, JJ Moser, and Jason Zucker. Some okay options on here. Obviously, it really depends on first-line power play time as well. For the Leafs, there's never a lot of options here, but the number 1 option is absolutely Tyler Bertuzzi. This guy's been on the first-line power play over John Tavares. As long as Bertuzzi has his deployment on the power play, he will be really good, so pick him up for the long term, but also this week because of their schedule. We also have Jake McCabe. He's putting up really good fantasy points lately. Matthew Nyes, Max Domi, Timothy Liljegren, Callie Yarncrow, Bobby McMahon, and TJ Brody. Now for the Flames players, lots of great options on here if they are available. Nazem Kadri, what a goal he just scored last night. Obviously really good in the peripheral department. Mackenzie Weegar, he's probably rostered in any serious league, but if he is available, this guy is an awesome stream for this week, maybe if you're in a really shallow league. Blake Coleman, he's been amazing this year. Igor Sharangovich, super underrated. Noah Hannafin, Rasmus Anderson, Mikhail Backlund, Jonathan Huberdeau, Andrei Kuzmenko, and Connor Zary. I believe Zary is injured, but it's only day-to-day, so we'll see if he plays. Then for the Blackhawks players, not a lot of options, as you guys know, but we have Nick Foligno, Philip Kurashev, Seth Jones, Ryan Donato, and Tyler Johnson. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I will catch you in the next one.